What's up, NFL fans? It's NFL Nate back again. Today, we're going to be looking at the top 20 NFL free agents in 2021, the top free agents this year, this offseason. Free agency is going to start in March, so we're going to be looking at the top 20 guys that teams can sign with their extra cap space. A lot of great players, so stay till the end to see who I have as the number one free agent. Also, tomorrow I'm going to do a follow-up video, and I'm going to do landing spots for the top 10 free agents, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. It's going to be after this video, so watch till the end of this video and turn the notification bell on and subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's video, and let's jump right into it. First, we have Corey Linsley, center for the Green Bay Packers. Probably the top center in the league. I have him at number 20. I feel like he's kind of underrated. Center is sometimes a underappreciated position, but if you have a good center, it can anchor a good O-line. So teams like the Chargers or the Jets who want to rebuild that O-line can get a guy like Corey Linsley and can be helpful for them. So I have him at number 20. At number 19, I have Chris Carson, a hard-hitting running back for the Seattle Seahawks. He's been good for them for a few years since Marshawn Lynch left. After a few years after Marshawn Lynch left, he'd be a really good running back for a team like the Falcons, and it would be a really good pound-style, hard-hitting running back. Any team could want. He can be the featured guy, or you can see him be with somebody else, but I think he's overall a very good running back that a team could really use. Next, I have Trey Hendrickson at number 18. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson, he was for the New Orleans Saints and played across from Cam Jordan. He didn't actually get that much playing time, but put up the same amount of sacks as Aaron Donald, mostly because he was able to not be double-teamed and just have a one-on-one matchup most of the time, which really helped him get tons of production up. So I think a good fit for him would be across from another playmaker like Aaron Donald. So if he went to Cleveland, it would be across from Myles Garrett. He could go to the Pittsburgh across from TJ Watt, or he could even go to the Chargers across from Joey Bosa. I think there's a lot of good fits and can be a really good pass rusher. I don't know if he's ready to be that number one pass rusher for a team yet, but he definitely has the potential and has been putting up big numbers. So Trey Hendrickson is at number 18. Next, we have another pass rusher, Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney was the number one overall pick in 2014, had a little stint with the Houston Texans, and then's been bouncing around a few teams. He went to the Seahawks, now to the Titans, and he hasn't found much success, so his stock has been slowly decreasing. But I think if he went onto a team with good coaches, he can go back to the form. He has all the athletic traits anyone would want in an edge rusher, so I think his potential is still sky high, so I don't think it's worth it to give up on him. Some team just needs to put some trust in him, and I think he's still a very good free agent that teams would want to get at number 17. Next, I have Juju Smith-Schuster at number 16. Juju Smith-Schuster played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and in his second year, he put up some really big numbers, but his numbers been slowly decreasing as of lately. He also has been dealing with some off-the-field TikTok stuff, like dancing on the other people's logos, but that's not really the point. He's still a very, very talented wide receiver and can be that number one guy like we saw in Pittsburgh when Antonio Brown left. He was able to be that number one guy, so I think he can. If he goes to a team like the Dolphins or the Lions, he can become that number one guy for a young quarterback, and he's still a very young player, so I think he has tons of potential for a franchise. Next at number 15, I have the Hunter Henry of the Los Angeles Chargers. Hunter Henry obviously has a few injury concerns, but when he's on the field, he is a top 10 tight end in this league. He's been catching balls from Justin Herbert this past year, and I think he has tons of potential. Obviously, the tight end situation in Los Angeles, we're not sure about. They might draft a guy like Kyle Pitts or go after somebody else. But I do think that the Chargers should keep Hunter Henry. But I think he's just a really solid player, and another team could use him. But overall, I think he's the 15th best free agent. Next, I have Chris Godwin at number 14. Chris Godwin, Super Bowl champion with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's like a wide receiver 2 with Antonio Brown and Mike Evans. So I don't know if the Bucs want to keep him, but he can be a wide receiver 1. I feel like he has that potential. He's a really good overall receiver, and I feel like if he goes to a team that needs some wide receivers, he can put up even bigger numbers than he has at Tampa, because he'll be the star of the show rather than just being hit away by Mike Evans. So I think Chris Godwin has lots of potential, and he's at number 14. Next, I have another Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Shaq Barrett, the Super Bowl champion again. I feel like Shaq Barrett, he has a lot of potential. You saw him chasing Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He was one of the big reasons why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. So I really like him. Obviously, the Bucs cap space situation is tight, so I don't know if they can re-sign him. But if he went to a different team, he can be that number 1 pass rusher and can just create tons and tons of havoc for quarterbacks, just like you saw in the Super Bowl. He's going to cost a lot of money, but I think it's worth it for a team that needs a lot of pass rush like the Raiders or the Titans. Next, I have Will Fuller. He's on the Houston Texans right now. Obviously, Will Fuller had some off-the-field issues at the end of the year, but when he's on the field, he is so fast. He can just blow by people. So if he heads to like Green Bay or somewhere else with a quarterback with a big arm, his potential is off the charts. So I think he's at number 12 because of just his pure speed, and he's just an overall good receiver as well. Next, at number 11, I have Brandon Sheriff for the Washington football team. I think Brandon Sheriff has probably been one of the best guards in the league this past few years, and has just held down that line, even though the Washington football team offensive line hasn't really been too good. But I think either the Washington football team will re-sign him, or an offensive line needy team will pick him up. So I like Brandon Sheriff at number 11. Now we're into the top 10. At number 10, I have Aaron Jones for the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers had a stacked running back room last year with Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and A.J. Dillon. But Aaron Jones was the main guy. He's just an overall really good running back. He has good hands. He's really shifty. He has the speed to run downfield and get those long touchdowns. So just a really good number 1 back for a team that needs a running back. He can be that number 1 guy. So I really like Aaron Jones at number 10. Next at number 9, I have Allen Robinson. He's on the Chicago Bears right now. He has been struggling with quarterbacks his whole entire career. At Jacksonville, there wasn't really a number 1 guy the whole time at quarterback, and now when he came to Chicago, it's been Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. So he goes to a team with a consistent quarterback, he can become a very, very good wide receiver. He already is, but I think he could step up his game to another level if he goes to a quarterback consistent team. So I really like Allen Robinson at number 9. Next, I have Justin Simmons from the Denver Broncos at number 8. Justin Simmons has been one of the best free safeties this past year. Just a ball hawk. The Denver Broncos cornerback situation wasn't even good last year, and he was still able to cover so much ground. I really like him, and obviously the safety class in the draft isn't really that good, and there's not any big names. So if a team wants to pick him up, I think it would be really good for them. I think the Broncos should want to keep him, but if another team offers him more, it's a possibility. But I really like Justin Simmons at number 8. At number 7, I have Leonard Williams. Obviously, Leonard Williams is a very interesting story. He started in New York as a New York Jet, and he didn't produce. He was really high out of college and was drafted in the top 10 and just didn't produce. And then he went over to the New York Giants and saw a jump from 0.5 sacks one season to 11.5 the next season. He's been putting up big numbers, so I really like Leonard Williams, and he's an anchor. I think the New York Giants need to keep him as they have a really young defense that can become extremely good. Next, I have the highest tackle, Trent Williams. Trent Williams just has been a really good, solid piece. He's obviously up there in age, but I do think he still has the talent. And if there's some young offensive line talent on a team, Trent Williams can teach them and be a mentor as he holds down that critical left tackle position. He was good for Washington, and now he's been good for San Francisco 49ers. So whichever team he goes to, I expect him to be good, and he still has 3 or 4 years left in the tank. Next, at number 5, I Yannick Ngakoue. Yannick Ngakoue also has been bouncing around from a few teams since he left Jacksonville. He went to Minnesota, then he went to Baltimore. I think Yannick Ngakoue is still a very good talented pass rusher in this league and still has lots of potential to be that number 1 guy. He just needs to get into the right scheme. I don't know if Baltimore is good for him, but I think he just needs to be that featured pass rusher, and I really like him to go to a team like the Raiders or the Titans or some team like that. Next, we have another pass rusher, Bud Dupree from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, on the other hand, Bud Dupree was across from the sack leader T.J. Watt, and so Bud Dupree has had a very, very good defense around him. So I think if he went to a team like the Cleveland Browns, that would be super good for him. But he is just a super fast off the ball, good with his hands. And so I just really like Bud Dupree overall, and I think he's a good prospect for another team that needs pass rush help because as we saw in the Super Bowl, I can't emphasize this enough, pass rush is really, really needed in the NFL today. You need quarterbacks and you need pass rush, and that's what wins you championships. You got Tom Brady and those, so I think Bud Dupree can really help a team anchor a good pass rush. Then we're into the top 3. I have Kenny Golladay at number 3, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, obviously, they haven't been doing so well, so I think Kenny Golladay wants out, and he can go to a team that can contend. I think a really good fit would be the Miami Dolphins. They obviously are wide receiver needy, and Kenny Golladay would be a good spot. There's tons of good stuff, but Kenny Golladay is super good with the jump balls. He's got the route running. He's got the speed. I just really like him. He's overall a great receiver, and I think a team would really, really like him in their wide receiver group. Then at number 2, I have Levante David. Some people might think this is a little high, and I might get some hate in the comments, but I do think Levante David deserves it up here. He has been in Tampa Bay being a good linebacker for so long, and he finally got the payoff with a Super Bowl championship. I think Levante David can go in there and make a linebacking group super, super good. Obviously, he helped Devin White, and I think he was one of the big reasons Devin White had so much success. So I think he can really help establish a defense if the Bucs don't decide to re-sign him. And at number 1, if you guys have been keeping track, I shouldn't be surprised, I have Dak Prescott at number 1. It's so rare to see a free agent this big of a free agent quarterback like Dak Prescott. In the 2020 season, he was averaging 450 yards passing a game. That is just ridiculous. Obviously, he probably wouldn't keep that up for the rest of the year, but it wouldn't be a surprise if he finished out that season. He could have broken the all-time passing yards in a season record, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I do think the Cowboys should re-sign him. But if he goes out in free agency, it's going to be a frenzy for him. I don't think that will happen. I think the Cowboys will re-sign him. But a lot of potential and a lot of crazy rumors going out about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. All the support means a lot, and I thank all of you guys for hitting that like button and subscribing. Stay tuned for my next video. It's going to be where will the top 10 free agents in 2021 land. So it's a super good video, follow up to this video. So stay tuned for that. Watch my last video right there, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. See ya!